Saturday's got 10 games on. One of them is early, a lot of back-to-backs. Let's take an early look at options, what we're watching for, who we're streaming in, and of course, let's bask in the glory of Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I've kiboshed before and I'll kibosh again. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, check out our newsletters. Your favorite team, your favorite newsletter, LockedOnDaily.com. We cover all of the news around your favorite team from the podcast, but also other sources right around the old information superhighway. Also, chuck a like on this, a thumb up, a double bang. Comments down below. As is the new tradition, at least for the first few weeks of the season, these Saturday preview shows will come a little bit early. I've got to head out to, for those of you who don't know, it's about an hour away from me. I'm sure people don't know where Glen Waverley is in Australia or in Melbourne, but it's about an hour for me to go out on a Saturday morning to watch under-19s baseball, but that's where we're at. So this one goes a little bit early as we make the trek out to the other side of the city. And that's why we go just a little bit early on this one. But what we do get before we get into the games is we got the update that I was fearing in New Orleans. And I said that when Herb Jones hurt his shoulder, that doesn't look like it's one game. Looks like it might be something more. And it is. We're talking up to a month here for Herb Jones, which adds on to the Trey Murphy out for weeks still and DeJounte Murray out for weeks. No, DeJounte Murray is not out for the season. I know you've read the RotoWire update on Jose Alvarado. Murray is not out for the season. Let's push, but let's remember that is who. I don't know who wrote that. Apologies to that man or woman. You're wrong. He's not out for the season. Herb Jones is out 2 to 4 weeks. And the other thing we said with C.J. McCollum with his groin, I don't think this is a one-game absence, and it's not. That's a 2 to 3 weeker. Now, of course, we're waiting on the injury report legends, the Memphis Grizzlies, to give us clear and present information about Desmond Bane. They won't. He's going to be out this time too. I am almost certain. You don't have an oblique strain, Paolo Banchero, or an adductor, old mate C.J. McCollum, and miss one game. Very unlikely. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong on Desmond Bane's diagnoses before. Grade 3, ankle sprain, back practicing in 2 weeks. Grade 3, sorry. We haven't got that update yet. I'm expecting Bane to be out 2 to 3 weeks. But, will we ever find out? Only God knows. And he's not telling us. So, let's talk about these games. Let's see what's on my radar. We have got one of these weird ones, and people hate this with a passion, and I don't know why they're so passionate about it, about the baseball series, because we're going to see this game on Friday, and we're going to see it on Saturday. Boston and Charlotte, back-to-back. I actually don't care. I don't know why it bothers people so aggressively. I think it's okay, whatever. Anything that we can do to reduce travel with teams and increase the quality of basketball, I think is good. But whatever. I'm not here to tell people what to feel or what to think. I'm just here to give my thoughts. Boston, Charlotte. This one is early tomorrow. Instead of 7 p.m., it's 6 p.m. Now that one, I don't know why that's going early, but it is. So obviously both of these teams are on a back-to-back because they're playing each other on Friday. And then yesterday when I did this preview and then all the way through on the injury report, I said, well, it looks like Al Horford's going to sit on Saturday because he's not on the injury report for Friday. And then the Celtics went, nah, we're joking. He's actually out Friday. That came through today. Why it wasn't there yesterday, I have no idea. So now all my faith in humanity is shaken. I don't know what to believe anymore. Let's talk about the schedule. And for any of these teams, I'm not going to put out what they're doing for week 2 because if they play on Saturday, they don't play Sunday. No team plays Sunday that plays Saturday. In short, which would have been an easy way for me to say this, there's no back-to-back across the weekend. So Boston goes for the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, same as Charlotte next week. Porzingis is out. I am going to put Drew Holiday on here because, again, I don't know. He's not out Friday. It is a back-to-back. They seem to be managing him. They could pop him on tomorrow as out with a rest anyway. I just don't know, so I will put it there just in case so you're aware of it. Mark Williams, the big fella, is out on Friday. I'm going to go ahead and assume he's not ready on Saturday. We haven't really got any information to say that he will be. So I'll say that Mark is out on Saturday. I think we'll be saying, oh, hi, Mark, later on next week. But, Charlotte has been better. My man Josh Longstaff really providing better information, but still don't know. Daquan Jeffries is out, and we're waiting on an update on Brandon Miller for Friday with his sore ass. We'll see exactly we'll get more information, obviously, if he plays on Friday. Who are the stream guys? It's a lot of the same stuff. Sam Hauser and Grant Williams. Do not drop Trey Mann when Brandon Miller returns. Just watch to see what happens. If Mann goes and plays 21 minutes a night, then that's not going to be viable. But I think he can stay in 27 minutes very, very comfortably. And those 26 minutes that Seth Curry are getting, they just disappear. So I don't think we need to worry that much about Trey Mann, but it is a good thing for us to be able to pay attention to. The next game is also a pair of teams who play on Friday, and then they play again on Saturday. So we've got that double back-to-back. Now, these two teams don't play each other, but they do both play on Friday. So it's a double-ended back-to-back. Sacramento goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Toronto Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday next week. Devin Carter and Orlando Robinson are out in Sacramento. Scotty Barnes is going to be out for Toronto. Bruce Brown is going to be out. Emmanuel Quickley is currently doubtful for Friday. I'll just say I don't think he's going to play on Saturday. I don't know that, but I don't think he'll play on Saturday. Kelly Olynyk is out on Friday. I don't think he'll play on Saturday. We don't have an update on that, though. And then Gary Trent III, Jacoby Walter, has been upgraded to questionable for Friday with a shoulder issue. I don't think he's going to help fantasy teams at all. But we might see him available either Friday or Saturday. I think there's a decent chance that Walter plays one of these two games. Olynyk, no chance. And Quickly, I'd say very, very minimal chance that he plays in both of those games. So what are we streaming in? It's Keon Ellis, of course. Now, we want 24 minutes. I don't think we get him. And he put up monster defensive numbers. Those numbers in 17 minutes is an impossible dream and it won't happen. But if you're looking for defensive stats, he's there. And then John Mobo is the guy that I do look for in Toronto. You can look at Davion Mitchell as well. Depends what you want. Mobo's got more of a well-rounded performance. Davion Mitchell's the assist player who's terrible at shooting, but he can get you some steals there as well. And of course, if the Prestige Penis Grade A Dick is available, you add Dick. But he's not. Everyone that I can see in terms of the way that we monitor our leagues at Basketball Monster, everyone's already taken Dick. So I think we move ourselves onto taking Mobo there. And I'll continue to say, Mobo will lose value when Olynyk returns. I certain there'll be a little drop, but I do think that Mobo will be a strong guy in March. And your ability to stash is entirely dependent on your league formats. Yep, entirely dependent. Here's a question for you as we just get philosophical. What do you think is more skillful in fantasy? Daily streaming and hitting the right notes on playing your schedule and adding the right players? Or going with a more restrictive games cap / larger bench / lineup setting periods that gives you the ability to stash and hold? What do you think is more of a test for fantasy basketball managers? Because they're both inherently different skill sets or thought processes. The standard format, of course, is maximizing through streaming. I think you know what I think, because the way that I've set up all the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowls is that it leads to more ability to have foresight and to stash and not be at the mercy of daily streaming / when you get a rash of injuries having to drop valuable players. That is how I view it. But I want to hear what you think. Drop that in the comments. You can also comment on the Spotify version audio-wise as well. Do you think it is more of a skill challenge to be daily changes, streaming in, working the schedule, or the stash ability, working out who to play when and valuing it that way? I actually do genuinely. Most of the time when I tell you to comment, I don't care. I don't care what you say. Who cares? Who cares? You're all nothing. I'm joking. But no, I actually want to hear what you guys think about this, about that, how you view that either way. Bang it down below. What I also noticed is that, you hear these things, we're side tangent. I know I haven't got time, but let's do it. That there's this, I say it's a rumor that people, especially on TikTok, they deliberately mispronounce a name, put a misspelling somewhere, an incorrect quote or whatever, right? So that people come and go, that's wrong. And they comment on it and it boosts in the algorithm and pushes through. The other day when I was putting up one of the box scores, it was for our Raptors, of course, that I accidentally cut off the points column. And 50 of the comments were hey, you've got the points. Hey, where are the points? Where are the points? This works. I won't deliberately make mistakes like that again, but it was an interesting phenomenon. Phenomenon? Yeah, phenomena is plural. Phenomenon is singular. Sacramento. That was that game. Sorry, this is Memphis. And this is Philadelphia. here on Saturday. Schedule-wise, it's both teams going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday next week. Who's out? G.G. Jackson, Luke Kennard, Vince Williams. I am very, very skeptical. In fact, I am so skeptical I have officially, by officially I mean I've just done it, labelled Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane as doubtful. I don't know, because the Grizzlies are just taking their time to craft the perfect 100% accurate injury report. They're just taking their time. So we haven't heard. I think that Bane and Smart won't play. In fact, I do think it's a 2 to 3 weeker for Bane, and I think it's probably a 2-week injury for Smart, but I don't know. It's going to hit like crack when we get the actual injury report. Not that I know. I haven't taken crack. But I would like to see that injury report. When they actually put it out with a million words in it, we know how they do it. It's going to be interesting. So I don't think they play. Johnny Conchar's been in and out with foot soreness, so I think we need to be, I guess on the skeptical side of him playing. And then you wouldn't know it, but Joel Embiid and Paul George both out for the Sixers. Again, you heard Joel Embiid's frustration. You've heard me talk about the frustration about the way that people, media, social media talk about these players. He's had it, and I get it. That's the question I will always pose to people. Do you think these players do not want to play? Because some of you clearly do. Some people, not necessarily you, but as a general community, people think that they don't want to play. Embiid's not playing, he's so lazy. There are people in the media who say this stuff. And whenever I see it, I don't care what their platform is. I'll call them out. Because it is a ludicrous statement. It is an unbelievably stupid statement to say. And Embiid, let it fly today. And, he is pissed. And he is rightfully pissed. Because part of the reason that he is in this situation right now is because of that. Is because of people questioning how tough he is and how he's not playing through stuff. And then he ruined his knee. And honestly, has he ruined his career? I don't know. That's his own choice. Yep, it is. But all these things are factors. It's annoying. We're watching Santi Aldama because with all these guys out, he's going to have to play a lot. I don't believe in Santi long term, but while we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 guys out, he's going to play. And then in Philadelphia, what I want to watch is Andre Drummond because I would say that Andre Drummond has not been good without Joel Embiid. Now, words are very important. Me saying he has not been good does not mean that he has been not good. Makes sense? There's a scale of things. There's good, there's okay, there's not good. He hasn't been good, he's been okay. He's been okay. But okay in a replacement for Joel Embiid doesn't cut it when you've got to consider Embiid comes back. And then that means you're, instead of getting a top 30 guy, you're getting a top 90 guy. That's probably not worth the hold. Let's see if he can change my mind here, the big avocado, but I don't know. In terms of stream guys, I do like Jalen Wells a lot. If Aldama's there, we stream him in, obviously. Jalen Wells and Jake LaRavia really boost up. And Scott Pippen, obviously, they're the guys. But Pippen is rostered in a lot of spots. And Caleb Martin in Philadelphia, he can have stinkers at any point. But with everyone still out, the minutes are going to be there. The opportunity to get a double-double is there. And that opportunity is somewhat enticing. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need to place those live bets on the NFL. In previous days, you would get your dial-up internet going. Even if it wasn't dial-up, you might be looking at something else and you have multiple devices going, laptop, phone, iPad, TV, just to try and get all the information in one spot, but not anymore on FanDuel. When you open up the screen to place those live bets, you can see the live stats, you can see the live play-by-play. It is like the future is now, old man. So, go and check out FanDuel and join up. Because if you get your first $5 bet, if that first $5 bet wins, you get $150 in bonus bets at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, let's get into the next game. That was a very slow start to the show. Apologies for the sidebars. Let's bang it out now. Cleveland and the Apple-a-Day legends, the Milwaukee Bucks, who they need to fire Doc Rivers. They won't. Look, the thing is, they need to fire Doc. And there's a couple of things. I'm just sidebarring here a lot, sorry. People go, they won't because they're paying 3 coaches. They're not paying Budenholzer anymore. Once a coach, nearly every coach, and I'm 99% certain Budenholzer has this, they all have it in their contracts, that they've got this guaranteed contract and they get paid out. But if they get another job, in that time, the, what do you call it? It's called offset language. The obligation from the old team to pay that coach goes away. So Budenholzer coaches in Phoenix now. Milwaukee does not pay out the rest of his contract. That's the language for all of those coaches, right? So they're still paying Adrian Griffin, and now they're paying Doc. So there's not the three coaches part of it. But part of the reason why maybe they don't fire Doc Rivers is the reports that he's got GM control now, and that's pissing off John Horst. We already heard that John Horst was looking at potentially taking other GM jobs over the offseason. So if Doc's part of the decision-making process, what do you think he's going to say? That Glenn Rivers is doing a pretty good job as a coach, yeah? Yeah. He's looking good, Glenn. Nah, apples. Who needs them? Yeah. Anyway. Cleveland's on a back-to-back. Why is Andre Drummond's name still there? Because he doesn't play for Milwaukee, so I apologize. We're not watching Andre Drummond play for Milwaukee. That is a graphical error. Next week, Cleveland goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Milwaukee Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Max Strus is out. Craig Porter Jr. I'm going to list as doubtful. He's doubtful for Friday. And Chris Middleton, I don't expect is back on Saturday. It could be, but I don't expect it. So what am I actually going to watch as I try and ad-lib this part? What am I watching? Is Damian Lillard going to shoot 8%? No. He was terrible yesterday, Lillard, and the post-game press conference should give nobody any level of confidence. Giannis is still putting up numbers, but is he honestly going to be an option to be traded? I don't know what's going on. Lillard has been, again, sort of what you wanted outside of that disaster yesterday. I'm probably more interested in the Bobby Portis minutes and where he fits as a must-roster guy or a stream-in-out sort of a player. The guys we do stream, it's Cleveland, it's Dean Wade. They continue to cook. If Karis LeVert is available, you look at him over Wade, but Wade's the other guy there. And then it's either Taurean Prince or Gary Trent, and you absolutely set yourself up for disappointment. Now, yesterday, I talked about how Gary Trent is bad, and Gary Trent doesn't need to be rostered. And then someone said, yeah, but you also told us to add him. It's not exactly what I did, but what I did say is, yeah, he was a good stream option because I thought he was a 30-minute-a-night player, and he's bad, but there's always the opportunity to get hot and hit 15 points with 5 threes and 3 steals, and that's that opportunity. Me saying someone's a stream option doesn't say that he's good or that he's a must-add or anything like that. And that's the same with Prince. He's terrible, right? He's not a good player, but he had 4 steals last game, and he could have 15 points with 5 threes, and he's going to have the opportunity to play big minutes. He is not, under any circumstance, a must-roster player. Same as Gary Trent. You do not have them on your roster outside of situations where it makes sense to see what happens. We'd like to prioritize opportunity. When we're looking at a one-day stream, there's 4 games unlike yesterday, you look at it and go, well, Trent might be a starter and he might play 30 and Prince is going to play 30. Let's have a look at it. And this is part of, sidebar again, why I hate the sleeper format of the pick a one game for the week. Because one game variance is through the roof. It's unbelievably unreliable. It's ridiculously unreliable. It's randomness and it is not skill. And a lot of that, with streaming, we try and reduce the randomness, but there's a lot of it. We look at opportunity to reduce stuff, but you don't know. It's very hard to know that. This has been a weird show. Minnesota and San Antonio is the 5th game of the day. The Wolves come into this one on a back-to-back. They play on Friday. Schedule-wise, they've got a nice break middle of next week. They go Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. And then the Spurs are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Minnesota at the moment clean injury-wise, and the Spurs, it's just Trey Jones, and I'm expecting the Devin Vassell is out, but coming back soonish. This was around his reevaluation time. Maybe we get an update on him today, and I haven't heard one yet. I want to watch Chris Paul because he started out the season really slow, and he cooked yesterday on a back-to-back against, obviously, a nobody team in the Jazz who's actively trying to lose. So now we're against a good team and against another old point guard. So what does Paul do? The other question is, does Mike Conley play? I think he does, but if he doesn't, what happens? Who starts? Because their point guard depth is it's nobody. It's Rob Dillingham, who doesn't play at all. It's Dante DiVincenzo, who's not a point guard. It's Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's also not being used as a point guard, although I think it would be Alexander-Walker who would start, and he's closed over Conley before, and him and Ant would sort of share those duties. So that's something to watch. Who are we streaming in? Jaden McDaniels is a perma stream. He's going to have bad ones. He's going to have good ones. He's not a guy that you hold under any circumstance in 12-team leagues, but you always look, are the Wolves playing? Can I use him? Sure, no worries. And then for the Spurs, the horse Keldon Johnson. Someone said they work with Keldon Johnson's brother. It was like, why do you call him the horse? Well, one of his official nicknames apparently is the Mustang. So ages ago, Jared Johnson was on this show and he said, they call him the Mustang. Man, that's an unbelievably hilarious nickname. So then I translated it into horse because people in Australian sport who are called horse, if you ever see an Australian sportsman, the nickname's horse, it's not because they're big and powerful and they go all day like a Mustang. They're called horse because they've got a long dick. And that is why they're called horse. So I just transitioned Keldon's name from Mustang to horse because it was funny. That's why we did it. Next game. Golden State. Houston. The Warriors still going to be banged up. Pretty certain about that. They both of these teams go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday next week. That's the Warriors and the Rockets, of course. Steph is going to be out. I'm certain of that. And I'm pretty sure DeAnthony Melton's going to be out. I don't know that yet, but I think he'll be out. And we haven't got an update on Andy Wiggins. Maple Jordan's missed the last couple with a back problem, which is annoying because there would be a really big opportunity for him to do some big stuff here. What I want to watch on the Warriors side is Kuminga. He's coming off the bench. The last 2 games, the minutes have pushed up, but the minutes have pushed up because those 3 rotation players have been out. So if Wiggins returns, does Kuminga go back down, or does he stay in a bigger role as a bench player than he has as a starter? It's possible, but we want to watch it. We want to see where it's at. Because if he goes back to 23, that's a real tough hold. But if it stays at 28, then it's fine. On the Rockets side, Fred VanVleet, he stunk yesterday. Really bad. What we want to watch, the shooting, I'm very confident is going to come up. I think he's shooting 25% on 2s. He's never going to be a good field goal guy. Like, never. He's never going to win you that category. But there's a difference between 30 and 40. 10% is how I work that out. But there is a difference there, right? And that difference, while you might still be punting field goals, if you're hitting those extra 10%, what that allows you to do is score more points. The thing I'd be a little concerned with VanVleet is not necessarily the usage or the shooting, so I think that's fine. It's his assist numbers have dropped. His potential assist numbers have dropped, and his actual assist numbers have dropped, and his passes made per game has dropped as well. It's not big, it's about 4 per game, but that just, even though his minutes are still like 39 a game, that is just indicating a marginal decrease. It's not big. It's passes made from like 63 to 60, right? So it's not a huge percentage, but it's something. And if you lose a half an assist, a full assist, it's important. So let's see how that goes. In terms of stream guys on the Warriors, it really depends who's there. Like I like Podziemski, obviously. But Moses Moody could be an option. Buddy Hield would be someone to look at as well. I don't believe that what Buddy is doing is long-term sustainable, but while guys are out, absolutely. Same with Podziemski. And then Kerr's got to make those decisions when players come back. And then in Houston, we saw Tari Eason get minutes over Jabari Smith last game. He was awesome. We know that Eason is a continually winning player whenever he plays on the court. He is. Is 18 minutes enough? Not really. Streamable? Sure. Must roster? Probably not. We're going to come back and talk about the remaining 4 games in a sec, because that's how we need to do this. But today's episode is also brought to you by the Game Time app. Game Time. It has tickets for all events, concerts, shows, sports. Of course, you can go see your favorite hockey team. You can go see your favorite basketball team. You can go watch the local university sporting team. They might be playing against the other. What's varsity? Is that a thing? I don't know. I hear that word all the time. I don't know what it means, but it doesn't matter because Game Time's going to have those tickets, and Game Time Picks helps you cut out the fluff when finding the best available options. Add that to all the other features. Views from your seat, what an absolute banger of an idea that is. The event protection, cancellation protection, whatever it is. Yeah, love it too. All these things are awesome features that has already made Game Time the best option. But now, when you throw Game Time Picks on there, it saves you time, it saves you money, and, as you hear me say all the time, it takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So, download the Game Time app and use the account, create the account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, use the code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. It's so, I don't know if the right word is. I just find it funny when you're reading out like that code and they say, read out the code LOCKEDONNBA, spell it out. So I read it out, LOCKEDON, and then the last 3 letters are NBA. But because we say NBA all the time, like it's literally one word, like when people turn MC into a word, EMCEE, NBA just doesn't sound like I'm spelling out letters. LOCKEDON, NBA. I just say, how would you write that? Again, drop a comment below. How would you write NBA the way that we say it, as one word, the way that MC becomes EMCEE? This has been a thought-provoking episode, I'm sure, for all of you. Miami and Washington. I think you know. Actually, let's cover what we actually the basics, the fundamentals of this game. Miami has 4 next week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Washington only 3. Not many teams only have 3 next week. They're one of them: Monday, Friday, Sunday. Duncan Robinson and Kevin Love. This has been underreported. I hope everything's all right with Kevin Love. Kevin Love has dealt with mental health issues in the past. Kevin Love has not played a single game this season due to personal reasons, and he is out again. Kevin Love is obviously not the player that he was, but he's like a much-loved figure, I would say, through the NBA, but also like he used to be a fantasy beast, right? And I hope everything's all right, because I don't know what's going on. I hope it's, whether it's his family or it's himself, but he's just not there. So he's out again. Duncan Robinson also out, and Josh Richardson questioned. We haven't seen Richo play yet. And like Richardson and Alec Burks are these guards off the bench, and Burks are sort of in and out as well, and they're like this weird spot where a lot of the team is struggling, but the two guards aren't, and that's Hero and Rozier. So I want to know where the minutes sit for Richo. On the Wizards side of things, Malcolm Brogdon's out, and I'm very, very certain Kyle Kuzma's out. Again, they haven't given us a full update on that. They said he's got a groin strain, and we reevaluated later. He's not playing. Like, I think this is, we see it continually. Groin strains, it's 2 to 3 weeks at minimum. So I don't think we're seeing Kuzma. Maybe it was just a one-game fake groin strain. But I don't think he's playing. On Miami side, what is happening with Bam Adebayo? There's so much talk about Bam through different circles, like how good he is, and he's snubbed for this, and it's his time to step up. Yeah, might want to play like it, my guy. He has been bad. The offense has been bad. The defense has been bad. That's not true. The rebounding's been bad. I'd like to see something turn around. He's a guy that I think in fantasy I've never really targeted. I've always found a way to pick nits at his game, and that's because outside of Toronto, I hate Miami the most. I hate them. Hate the fans, hate the team, hate the culture, hate all of them. All you Heat fans, you're terrible. I think I'm just going to change that bit every week, put a new team into that one. Toronto always up top, of course. But yeah, like, I've never been a Bam fantasy guy. I've always thought, oh, he's going too early. Oh, that's a little early. Oh, why isn't he blocking shots? Oh, the assists are coming down. Oh, the shooting's not real. I'd like to see it change. I want to see him improve. On the Wizards, Bub Carrington was really good last game. He was hyper efficient. What I'm more interested in was the big minutes and the rebounds and assists. Because the points will come and go, the shots are there, but that was interesting. And with Kuzma out, they started him. Let's see. Let's see where we go here. In terms of streams, Little Chungus, Nikola Jovic is probably the streamer. Now, if Jaime Jaquez is there, I would stream Jaquez over Jovic, but he might not be. And yeah, Jovic isn't a 12-team must, but it's streamable. And then Bub is probably the stream there for the old Wizards. The other one you'd look at is Keyshawn George and Jonas Valanciunas if he's available. But George played really strong minutes last game. Corey Kispert's in that mix as well. There's a lot of streaming options. And depending on your site, Alex Sarr is available in like 70% of leagues. And we'll talk about him in the stream section later. He is a must-roster player. So stop sleeping on Alex Sarr. He was my pick for best fantasy rookie this season. He was my pick for rookie of the year. I think it has been a very encouraging start. And honestly, there's 40% improvement coming in the next 2 months, I believe, with Sarr through increased minutes and increased shooting percentages. I think I think we are really, really sleeping on Alex Sarr. Like, really sleeping. Portland, Phoenix. This is a back-to-back for the Portland Trailblazers. Schedule-wise, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday for them next week. And Phoenix goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and say Rob Williams isn't going to play. He's already been ruled out Friday. I'm going to say he's not there for Saturday, but we know Shaedon Sharpe is out. We know that the painter Matisse Thybulle is out. Josh Okogie's had a hamstring injury all season. He has not played, so I don't think he'll be there. Bradley Beal's going to be the one to watch. Beal had an elbow issue. He missed a game. He came back. He missed a game. He's doing work. He's putting shots up. I think that this is a true 50-50 at this point. He was a game-time decision for last game and got ruled out. I would say that I lean more like if questionable's a 50-50 and probable, which is allegedly a 75-25, but realistically it's a 90-10, I would say he's around that 70 mark, like 70% likely, 30% not likely. Where am I pulling that number from? Well, the area is where the place that I'm sitting at the moment, but that's okay because I try and use a bunch of like intuition and reading tea leaves and get it wrong, but like we get it right probably more often than not anyway. So I do think that it is more likely than not that Beal plays. So what are we watching for on Phoenix? The 2 games that Nurkic has played a little bit more have been the games that Beal is out. So with Beal there, it gives them more of an ability to go small. Because then you have Beal, Booker, Durant out there, then you're able to put those other guys like Royce O'Neal around. Without Beal, that means you've got Ryan Dunn in that situation, meaning it becomes a little bit harder to put more or less offensive guys and fewer shooters around. So that does impact things. We also saw last game that Plumlee's not the guy taking Nurkic's job, despite some ideas that people thought that. It's just like Royce O'Neal or it's Ryan Dunn that cut into his minutes. We are like always, if you are going to make a call that Nurkic is a drop, who are you adding? Because that will be interesting. Like, we can talk about the value of adding someone in New Orleans, like Jose Alvarado, like really clear ad. And you want to drop Nurk, like I think I'm okay with that. For a one-day stream, not sure I would be. If for some reason Bilal Coulibaly, who's 39% rostered, if Bilal's available, like, yeah, I'm very much okay with doing that. But it's all going to be like, what are you doing? What move are you making? Who is available in your league to make that move? So Nurkic is droppable. That doesn't mean he has to be dropped. It's all dependent on the guys available. Who are the streams here? Tamani Kamara. Look, Scoot does fit the criteria if I'm using strict Yahoo percentages, which I'm not, because I'm very confident there is a large portion of dead leagues this season. But Kamara is still available widely. And then I think Royce O'Neal probably is a 12-team ad, especially with Beal under some questions there. And the other one would be Ryan Dunn that you can consider in that spot. The Utah Jazzmen and the Denver Nuggets. This is the exact sort of team that Denver will let get to overtime. So we'll see how this game goes. The Nuggets are on a back-to-back. The Jazz only have 3 next week, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. And the Nuggets go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Isaiah Collier is going to be out. I don't know about Lauri Markkanen. I think that he's probably leaning on the probable side of questionable, but they are tanking, and they are tanking already. It is an incredibly early start to the tank, so don't be surprised if you get another Markkanen miss. And then Jordan Clarkson moved into the starting lineup and then got hurt. Played 21 minutes and hurt his foot. And we saw that they had moved basically away from Colin Sexton. I think he played 13 minutes in the first 3 quarters, and Johnny Juzang was playing ahead of him. And then Clarkson got hurt, and Sexton played the final 12 minutes of a blowout. So if Clarkson is out, which I think is possible, that's going to mean more opportunities for Sexo. Vlatko Cancar is questionable for Friday, and Aaron Gordon is probable on Friday, so I'll just put the same statuses up for them on Saturday. On the Jazz, John Collins. Now, maybe I have, there's a real distinct chance I've just gotten it wrong with John Collins, because they were playing him basically exclusively as a center. And then Taylor Hendricks went down, and they didn't play him as a power forward in that game either. It was Kyle Filipowski who was the backup power forward. Cody Williams started, and Markkanen was the 4, and Filipowski the backup 4. And they kept Collins as a backup center. And then, of course, Markkanen went down, and we did get to see some Collins at center, and he put up good numbers. I'm still having a bunch of skepticism, and this is the main reason I have skepticism. A, he's a veteran player who can have a positive impact on winning, and they're going to hate that. And when these guys are healthy, they have shown a very clear ability to deprioritize Collins. Kessler ahead of Collins, Filipowski ahead of Collins, Hendricks ahead of Collins, Cody Williams ahead of Collins. We've seen it all. But he's putting up numbers. So, I might have just been blinded by a long-term view, which is something I try to address or tell you guys not to have super focus on all the long-term stuff. But I look at it and go, well, they don't prioritize him. But I look at in the short term, I got it wrong. Like, I thought that he wouldn't play power forward, and he didn't until then Markkanen went down. And then they went back to that move, and he was good. So I apologize, and I might have just got that completely wrong. Who is streaming? I think Filipowski is still a stream with Markkanen on the fence, but 12 and 5, a block of steal is possible for Filipowski, and that's streamable, definitely over like a Cody Williams. And then Russ Westbrook. Yeah, like I don't have any faith in it, but 10, 8, and 6 is possible in 22 minutes for him. It would be Christian Brown if he is still available, but I doubt that he is, and we're still obviously monitoring what his production is like. The last game on Saturday is Oklahoma City going to take on the Clippers, Intuit Dome. Both teams play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday next week. The Thunder come into this one on a back-to-back as well. Hartenstein, Pig Williams, and Kenrich Williams are all out for the Thunder, and Kawhi Leonard and Mo Bamba are out. So it's all the same players out for both teams. On the Clippers, I want to watch Norm Powell because the stuff that he is doing is good. It's fantastic. It's a must-roster player, but it is screaming that if Kawhi ever returns, that Powell probably won't be worth it because he's not doing anything apart from volume scoring. And when you move from being that number 1 volume scorer, equal with Jim Harden, to being the 2 or 3, your value disappears really quickly. So that would be my worry. I want to see if there's anything else to Powell's game. I know there's not, but I just want to see what happens. In terms of streams, Cason Wallace is getting 1 million steals. I don't know that he starts, and I'm not sure that it matters because he is getting like 24 to 25 minutes. He's playing more than Joe, more than Wiggins, more than Caruso. He looks good. He looks really good. So I like him as a stream guy. And then Chris Dunn's like a worse case than Wallace, I would say. Dunn was a little bit disappointing in the last 2 games, but if you are looking for a handful of assists and steals, he might be that guy for you. Let's take a look now at some streaming. There's no Saturday, Sunday back-to-back, so we're not doing anything with that. But instead, we're going to get chunky. We're going to take a look at who we can get the most games out in a 5-game span. Remembering, Tuesday doesn't have any games on. It's a 0-game day. So remember that. So we've extended it out to 6 days. Now, there is one team in the next 6 calendar days, next 5 NBA days, there is one team that plays 4 times. And that is the San Antonio Spurs. So, Spurs, guys, value is up. Everyone else has 3. All of these players are over 50% available on Yahoo. And I put this man, Jose Alvarado, on the thumbnail of the show yesterday. He has to be added. There are no point guards in New Orleans. No DeJounte Murray. Jordan Hawkins is not a point guard. And he's also dealing with a back problem. No C.J. McCollum. It has to be Jose, right? He is a must-roster player for now. Al Horford, also. Yes, I know he's sitting out Friday. He just has to be rostered. Keldon Johnson. The only reason I have Keldon Johnson as a nice chunk play is they've had 4 games. No other team does. So you could throw Julian Champagnie into that mix as well. Jordan Hawkins is going to get way more shots. He's another one of these, a little bit like the Norman Powell, is that when players filter back, he will move into irrelevance. But we've got a real good 3-week window here for Hawkins' minutes and production to stay high. Now, he doesn't do much more than shoot, but that's okay because the minutes will override that. Got Wendell Carter there without Paolo. Carter is a very, very clear ad. The second one to me still remains Mr. Black. Someone said to me, man, I got to know, what is that from? And I get there are people who aren't me and aren't my age or different age groups or different cultural exposures or whatever. It's from The Simpsons. It's a relatively famous quote from The Simpsons from a famous episode, Camp Krusty, if you're interested. Just search it up, Simpsons, Mr. Black, and you can go see the original thing. But that's just me doing an impression of Mr. Black. And you can go and watch that. We're good. Good, Mr. Black. Hello, Mr. Thompson. Scoot Henderson is the other one who is 52% available on Yahoo Leagues. Just like, come on, what are we doing? Going at him. Let's talk streaming. Let's go to the streams of the day for Saturday's action. For 10-teamers, I am going with the big fella in Toronto, John Mobo. That's under the assumption that Kelly Olynyk is out, which I think is a pretty good assumption. They're also tanking hard, by the way. I'm not saying that Scotty Barnes doesn't have a broken face, because he does, but they're tanking. 12-teamer, I'm going Bubbett Carrington. 14-teamer, we're going Washington to Corey Kispert. And 16-teamer, we're going to Keyshawn George. And then, for Yahoo and ESPN points, we're going to Bilal Coulibaly. This is obviously now a Wizards fan show. That's a lot of Wizards streaming. Bilal is over 50% available. In fact, he's 60% available on Yahoo. And I should have actually mentioned Bilal up top. I don't believe his shooting is sticking for a million years. It is not happening. But the minutes are there. The opportunity is there. He's expanded his game. He looks so much better, even from like game 1 of the season. There is going to be a massive drop. There's going to be a big cool-off, but who cares? He is a must-roster player across every format, Bilal. You got to do it. Let's take a look at the 10-team guys. John Mobo, top of that list there. Then you go to Bub Carrington, Karis LeVert, Caleb Martin, Little Chungus, Nikola Jovic, and, of course, the Basmati man, Royce O'Neal. If you are in a 12-team league, just check that list out and see who applies. But these are some other names that you can go to as we look at who the 12-team guys are. The 2 Washington Wizards players, Keyshawn George and Corey Kispert. We go to the 2 Memphis guys under the assumption that Marcus Smart and Desi Bane are out. That's Jake LaRavia and Jalen Wells. The artist formerly known as Torian Prince and Kaysen Wallace as another 12-team league player. 4 deeper formats. Again, whoever's available from those other ones, you take them. And then you go to Tamani Kamara, Davion Mitchell with the assumption that Emmanuel Quickley is out with his pelvis. Dylan Wright, Mason Cockroach Plumlee, Dylan Brooks, and Buble himself, Julian Champagnie. If we move across to Yahoo Points League streaming, these are all 50% plus available. Number 1 is Bilal, and I don't know why he's available, but that's what's happening. Bilal, Andre Drummond, Nick Richards, BDNR, Al Horford, Scooter Henderson, and Alexandre Sarr. Lastly, on ESPN Points Leagues, a bunch of similar names there. We go to Bilal Coulibaly, Nick Richards, Andre Drummond, Al Horford, Christian Brown, and lastly, Sterling Scoot Henderson. And that's it. That is a stream show for Saturday. There are a million sidebars in there, and that's cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you did, I want one of your thumbs. Drop it down below. Leave a comment on those things that I asked you for comments, but other comments as well. Always happy to hear those, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.